those factories need to have a say, and they need to have a share, and their best interests need to be the first thing that Nike or any other corporation looks to. What it serves the best interests of the people working in these companies, not what serves the best interests of the owners of the corporation. And only by doing that, and only by all of us taking a stance that we're not going to buy the products from any company that doesn't do that, are we going to pull ourselves out of this. I think that one of the exciting things right now is that a country like the United States, that really is the leader of the modern empire. We are the modern empire, and we've got a lot of allies throughout Europe and Japan and many other places. But we are sort of like the coach of the team and the captain of the team. But at the core of our country, and at the core of many of the other countries also, are some very incredible principles of equality and sustainability and stability. You know, in the American Declaration of Independence, we talk about government for the people, of the people, by the people, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's a value system that's very different from the one that created the division between wealth and poverty. And so this has been defined for us. And in a way, we've all bought into it. The world loves these ideas. And the revolutions that are going on in South America today really reflect that. These countries are saying, this is what we want. Government for, of, and by the people. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for everybody. And so I think we've reached a time now where we know a couple of things. We know, A, that we've created a global empire. And that's not a good thing, but in the process of doing that, we've created systems of communication so that we can reach everybody on the planet. And B, we've created resources that make it possible to be in a situation where nobody needs to starve. 24,000 people die every single day from hunger and hunger-related diseases, at least 24,000. And that doesn't need to happen. We have plenty of resources, so that shouldn't happen. It happens because of the system we've created. But we know we're now at a time when we have resources that can stop that. And we have the networks around the world to make it happen so that this doesn't have to happen, that this doesn't have to occur. And the third thing that's happened is we realize that we live on a very small planet. We are one community. And certainly, if we didn't already know it, 9/11 taught us that. The conquistadores never had to worry about the Incas attacking Madrid. And the French and British never had to worry about their Asian or African colonies attacking Paris or London. We know today that we're very, very vulnerable to people in Afghanistan or wherever they happen to be. Our cities are vulnerable. We live on a very small planet. I know that my daughter, who's 24, and her children are not going to have a stable, sustainable, and sane world unless every child born in Ethiopia and Indonesia and Bolivia also has that expectation. This is a very small community. So we've got these three elements at play right now. We've created a global empire, and we have all the resources, including communications networks, that we need to alleviate suffering, to narrow the gap between rich and poor. And we know that we live on a very small planet, in a very small community, and that we must create a new world. We must, for the survival of our future generations. To me, that gives us great hope that we finally have arrived at a time where we can realize the ideals expressed by the Declaration of Independence in the United States and by many other sacred documents that were actually started in France and England and other parts of Europe and Asia, that all came together to form the philosophy behind this new approach to living that evolved in the 1700s. And we're now reaching a time where I think we can see that this has to be brought in on a global level. So I find this to be very, very exciting that we can break this pattern that may be, it's at least 3,000 years old, it may be older, and now is the time to break that pattern. I also find as I travel around the world that there's a tremendous outcry to do this. people really want to do it. We've seen it very strongly in South America, and we're increasingly seeing it in Europe and the United States, and certainly the Middle East. A lot of what's going on in the Middle East is an expression of this, although that doesn't usually make the mainstream media. But so much of what's going on in the Middle East is an expression of this demand that we reduce this gap, that we change the paradigm, that we do get rid of poverty. And in fact, we get rid of the idea of wealth that creates the idea of poverty. So I look forward to this period as a young person growing up in New Hampshire. I come from 300 years of Yankees in New Hampshire and who fought in the American Revolution. My family was very involved in these things. And I used to think, when I was a kid, I used to wish that I had been born in the 1700s so I could have been part of the American Revolution. What I know now is I think that this is even a more exciting and important time in history, because we have the opportunity to implement these ideas on a truly global level.